Hello students, welcome to our channel SD Biology classes. In our last video, we have discussed about the pteridophyta, their general features and also the life cycle of the pteridophyta. Today we are going to know about the types of pteridophyta. So let's start it. Today our learning objectives are the types of pteridophyta, the differences between bryophyta and pteridophyta, and the most important part, that is trivia, that includes some important facts about pteridophyta, and the assignment portion. So first of all, we will learn about the types of pteridophyta. There are mainly four types of pteridophyta. What are those? First one is called as the, or first type is called as the Psilopsida. Next one Lycopsida, Sphenopsida and Pteropsida. So one by one we will know about them. So students, first of all we will know about the first type of pteridophyta, that is called as the Psilopsida. They are the most ancient pteridophyta. They are the most ancient pteridophyta. Most of the members are not living nowadays. The plant body is differentiated into stem, scaly leaves and rhizoid. They are rootless. Instead of root, they have rhizoids. And the leaves are simply scaly leaves or scaly leaves, that is membranous leaves that present on the surface of the stem. The scaly leaves are also called as the cataphyls, and the stem, that the stem sometimes are present under the soil, and the stem that is present under the soil, that is called as the rhizome. The stem bears some aerial parts, and on this aerial part the spore containing structure, that is the sporangia, are present. These are the sporangia that you can see, they are present on the aerial stem of member of the Psilopsida. So these are the sporangia. Photosynthesis is done by the stem. As they possess the cataphyls, they are scaly leaves. They are not green in color, they are brown in color, so they cannot do photosynthesis. They don't have chlorophyll. But the stem, the aerial part of the stem, that is green in color, and they perform the photosynthesis for the plant body of the Psilopsida member. Now the sporangia are formed on the tip of the stem. And the example of the Psilopsida is that the living member is called as the xylotum. Another member is also there, that is called as the rhinia. And nowadays there is no such evolution in the member of the Psilopsida, so they are also called as the living fossil. Now another type of pteridophyta is Lycopsida. Here you can see the example of Lycopsida. See, this is the Hadrian sheet of one of the members of Lycopsida. It is the Lycopodium. So they are commonly called as the clubmoss. All the members are commonly called as clubmoss. Now you can see that the plant body is differentiated into root, stem and leaf-like structures. Here you can see that in the Hadrian sheet also that the plant body is different. Here you can see in the Hadrian sheet that the plant body is differentiated into root, stem and leaf-like structure. The root-like structure is under the ground, so here the root-like structure is absent, but this is the long stem, and the leaves are very small. That means they are belonging to microfibrous type of the pteridophyta. They are the examples of the microfibrous type of pteridophyta. So you can see especially at the tip portion, this is the tip part where you can see that the leaves are comparatively condensed. At the tip portion, you can see that the leaves are comparatively condensed. So at the tip portion, why the leaves are condensed? Because these leaves bear the spores. That means they are the sporophylls. Here, compact cone-like structure is absent in case of Lycopodia. So the sporophylls or the leaves that bear the spores, or sporangia, they are present at the tip of each and every branch, at the tip of each and every branch, and the sporophylls bear the spores. So spores are present in some members. We can see the tubulous or cone-like structure. In some members, only the sporophylls are condensed at the tip of the branches. So this is the example of the member Lycopsida. This is the herbarium sheet of Lycopodium. Another example is Selaginella. This is another member of the Lycopsida. So students, till now we have learned about two types of pteridophyta. Now we have the third type of pteridophyta, that is Sphenopsida. What are the features of the Sphenopsida? Commonly they are called as the horsetail, and mainly the equisetum is called as the horsetail. Here in the member of the Sphenopsida, the plant body is differentiated into root, stem and leaves-like structure. But the leaves are not megaphylous or macrophylous type of leaves. Leaves are also scaly leaves. So here I am showing you the herbarium sheet of the equisetum. Here you can see the thread-like leaves. These are actually the brown color thread-like leaves, and the leaves are arising on the stem in a specific point, that is called as the nodes. So here we can see the nodes and internodes are present. In the herbarium sheet also you can observe it very well that these are the nodes from where the leaves arise. These are the nodes from where the leaves arise, the scaly leaves arise, and the gap between two nodes is called as the internodal region. So the nodes or internodes are very much distinct over here. The sporangia are present in the sporangiophore. Phore means stalk-like structure. Spore means stalk-like structure. Phore means. So here you can see the sporangia. They make the strobilus or cone-like structure. They make the strobilus or cone-like structure. This is the sporangia which are present in a strobilus or cone-like structure, and they are present in a stalk. And stalk that bear the sporangia, that is called as the sporangiophore. Now if I cut the section of the stem and leaves of equisetum member, we can see that the silica is deposited on the epidermal layer of the leaves and stem of equisetum. So it is one of the very important characteristic feature of the member of the Sphenopsida and also in the member of the equisetum. Now the common example of Sphenopsida is equisetum, and it is commonly called as horsetail. Now the fourth member of pteridophyta is Pteropsida. Now they are commonly called as fern. This is the largest group of pteridophyta. That means they include most of the members of pteridophyta. Now what type of plant body they have? Their plant body is also differentiated into root, stem and leaf-like structure. And if we see that one of the member, most of the members, they possess larger size of leaf. That is, they have the, or they are megaphylous pteridophyte. They are megaphylous pteridophyte. And the leaves are pinnately compound. So they are megaphylous pteridophyte and the leaves are pinnately compound. And the young leaves and the leaves are called as the frond. We can see that in some members or in these members we can see that the young leaves, they remain in the coiled like structure. They have a coil like structure, the stem and the young leaves, and the young stem is covered by small scaly leaves. This structure is called as ramenta. This structure is called as ramenta. So they have megaphylous type of leaves. Leaves are mostly pinnately compound, and each leaf is called as the frond, and the young leaf and that present on the young stem, they remain in a coil-like structure that is called as the ramenta. Now I will show you the herbarium sheet of one of the member of Pteropsida. This is Cristella dentata. Here you can see that megaphylous leaves. And where are the sporangias present? Sporangia are present in the lower surface of the leaves in a sorus-like structure. So many sporangia, they present, these are the sporangia, and together they form these are the sporangia that contain the spores, and together they form a small globular structure that is called as sorus. And the sorus is present, you can see here the very small minute color brown color structure. The sorus is present on the lower surface of the leaf. On the lower surface of the leaves you can see the sporangia or the sorus are present. Here the cone like structures are absent. In another member that is called as pteris, in case of pteris the sorus or small globular structures are absent, but the spores are present in a specialized structure that is called as cenosorus. So here on the margin of the leaf, in the margin of the leaf, the cenosorus are present. In the margin of the leaf, small powdery line on the margin of the leaf, and this structure is called as the cenosorus. It is also present on the lower surface of the leaves. And the common examples of the member of Pteropsida are Pteris, Marsilia, Adiantum, Salvinia and Azolla. Here Azolla and Salvinia, both of them are aquatic. Azolla is called as the aquatic fern and it is also used as the biofertilizer. The Pteris is commonly called as the sun fern. Pteris is commonly called as sun fern. Azolla is also the example of the smallest pteridophyta. Smallest pteridophyta. And Adiantum is also called as the walking fern. Walking fern. Why? Because their vegetative growth occurs by the tip of the leaf. That is, the tip of the leaf touch the ground and from there new root arise. That's why they are called as the walking fern. Adiantum is called as the walking fern. So these are the common examples of the Pteropsida and some informations about each and every member of the Pteropsida. Now students, let's have the differences between Bryophyta and the Pteridophyta. We have seen the Bryophyta that they are the non-vascular embryophytes. They do not have the vascular tissue, that's why they are called as the non-vascular pteridophytes. Whereas in case of Pteridophyta, we have seen that they have the vascular tissue, that's why they are also called as the vascular plants or vascular cryptogams. The plant body that we can see in our surrounding of the Bryophyta, that is the main plant body, is of gametophyte. Whereas in case of Pteridophyta, that means when we see the Pteridophyta in our surrounding, then the main plant body is sporophyte. The thallus is present. That means in case of Bryophyta, we can see the thallus-like structure where the plant body is not clearly differentiated into root, stem and leaf-like structure. But in case of Pteridophyta, the plant body is clearly differentiated into root, stem and leaf-like structure. Sometimes we can see the roots are called as the roots are of adventitious type of root. In some cases, the leaves are also of different types like cataphyls, tropophyls and also the leaves which help in photosynthesis the leaves which bear the sporangia, that is sporophylls. The main plant body is haploid, as the dominating phase is the gametophytic, that is the main plant body is gametophytic plant body. So the each and every cell of the gametophytic plant body in Bryophyta having n number of chromosomes. That's why it is called as the haploid plant body. Whereas in case of Pteridophyta, as the main plant body is sporophytic plant body, so each and every cell of the plant body bear 2n number of chromosomes. Now, in case of Bryophyta, the sporophytic plant body is grown on the gametophytic plant body. They do not grow on the soil. That's why from where they get the nutritions and water, they get the nutrition and water from the gametophytic plant body that grows on the soil. That's why the sporophytic plant body of the Bryophyta is totally dependent on the gametophytic plant body. Whereas in case of Pteridophyta, as the main plant body directly grows on the soil, so they can take their nutrition, not the nutrition, they can take the water and minerals from the soil and can make their own food. So here the sporophytes are autotrophic, as they bear the chlorophyll, the leaves bear chlorophyll, so they can do photosynthesis also. So they are autotrophic and they are independent of gametophytic plant body. So students, here we have some important question from today's lesson that can be asked in your board exam as well as in your competitive exam. So students, you should practice it at your home. So from today's lesson, we have learnt about the Pteridophyta, their types, and also we have learnt the differences between Pteridophyta and the Bryophyta. In the next lesson, we will learn about another group of the plant kingdom, that is Gymnosperm. Thank you.